If you ever thought of traveling towards the edge of the Yorkshire Wolds just before evening, you may think again after watching this episode. Why? Out of over 3,000 deserted medieval villages in Great Britain, you may come across one of the most mysterious of them all. Its name is Wharram Percy, and this village has attracted fame in recent years because of a grisly medieval secret. Even though there are hundreds of medieval British deserted villages, few contain the deep mystery of Wharram Percy. This remote Middle Ages village in North Yorkshire once had 40 homes, 2 mills, and 2 manor houses, which is interesting since today there are no living inhabitants, though it is the findings of one study by modern researchers which uncovered one horrific medieval event. First, let us give a brief background on this medieval British village. Wharram Percy was established around 900 AD. Between 850 AD and 950 AD, a wooden church was built, later reconstructed with stone in the 11th century. This indicates the village was substantial enough to sustain a congregation. After William the Conqueror confiscated this village in 1086 AD, it is thought that it was granted to the Norman Baron William de Percy. Then, a branch of this aristocratic family gained the lordship of Wharram, eventually becoming its major landowners by 1254 AD. In 1267 AD, the population of Wharram Percy, which had the major landowner's surname added to the village title, reached 200 people. It was between the 12th and 14th century that Wharram Percy reached its peak prosperity. During the year 1349 AD, the scourge of Black Death arrived in Wharram Percy. Although this plague resulted in a population decline from 67 to 45 people, it did not decimate the village. By 1436 AD, it is estimated that 16 households were occupied. At this point, it appears that sheep, in particular the wool trade, led the village on a path to desertion. England's profitable wool trade at that time meant landholders could gain more economically by converting farmland to grazing pasture. This decreased both local food supplies and employment for the village. In the year 1517 AD, 4 families were evicted by Baron Hilton, the largest landholder at that time in Wharram Percy. The last resident in Wharram Percy passed away when a ruined house collapsed on top of him in the 1520s. By 1527 AD, the last of this village's farmland was made into pasture by this key landholder. Only the ruins of a medieval church are left standing today, along with some older earthworks. Now, let us discover the grisly secret lurking within Wharram Percy. This medieval village has been the scene for numerous archaeological investigations since the 1950s. During one of these excavations conducted in 1963, researchers found human bones which they assumed were from ancient times. After their discovery, no close examination was ever undertaken. Then, in 2017, a detailed analysis was conducted on these same bones by researchers from Historic England, formerly known as Englishheritage, and Southampton University. Their study uncovered some shocking information. These 137 human bones were discovered in 3 pits, which were located across from the church, though outside the limits of its graveyard. On closer examination, they represented the remains of at least 10 individuals, including adults and children. Curiously, these were not complete bodies like those found in the churchyard. On closer inspection of these remains, the researchers were shocked. These bones contained incision marks from what appeared to be sharp knives or blades. There were also dark spots indicative of burning. Then they discovered chilling evidence of decapitation in the neck region, along with mutilation and dismemberment before the remains appeared to be put to fire. All these gruesome activities were performed shortly after the person was deceased, with little time wasted. This grisly information raised various important questions. What time period did these remains come from? Who were these people? Above all, why were they treated in such a brutal, merciless fashion? To continue, let us look further at the origins of these remains. When one remembers the assumptions from 1963, there is a possibility that these horrific remains came from a time long before the Middle Ages. After all, there was the presence of Romans in nearby villages and evidence of settlement in that area since the Iron Age. However, through radiocarbon dating, this theory was proven incorrect. Actually, these bones were dated to a period between the 11th to 14th century. Now that it was established these were medieval remains, the next step was to find out who these people were. There was a strong possibility these were the remains of enemy attackers, possibly raiders from Scotland that had burned the nearby village of Thixondale between 1319 to 1322 AD. However, examining the teeth of these remains through modern scientific methods revealed these victims to be local villagers and not invading enemies. After learning this surprising information, the key question remained of why these corpses were treated in such a vile manner. Knowing the once prosperous village had fallen on difficult times during this period, another horrific theory had to be considered. Combined with evidence of stunted growth in surviving villagers, along with decreased farmland for food crops, this terrifying theory could not be ignored. Therefore, the grisly possibility of cannibalism came to mind, similar to what occurred in the Great Famine of 1315 to 1317 in medieval Europe. Fortunately, existing evidence does not confirm this theory. For instance, the incisions on the bones were not at the joints, which is where butchered meats would be cut. Furthermore, these cuts indicate they were different from the way villagers prepared their consumed meats, such as pigs. All of these research findings led to a grisly possibility, which was the startling topic of revenants. A revenant is a corpse that has returned from the dead to haunt the living. These restless spirits were thought to hold ill intentions, rising from the grave in physical form to spread diseases and attack the living. Revenants were thought to be people that generally lived in a bad or evil manner while alive, or the unfortunate victims of illness or sudden death. Revenants were a topic documented by certain English historians during the 12th century and a popular subject of English folklore before then. If these corpses were thought to be revenants, medieval English villagers would have viewed them as a threat which had to be dealt with immediately after death. The brutal treatment of decapitation, dismemberment, and burning of these Wharram Percy bones closely matches the prescribed medieval treatment for dealing with revenants. In addition, the evidence found on the bones at Wharram Percy correlates with historic research and attitudes towards revenants at that time. So, we arrive at the most likely cause of these grisly acts, a theory favored by researchers that conducted this extensive 2017 study. This grisly secret of Wharram Percy is confirmed by Dr. Simon Mays, human skeletal biologist at Historic England, who concludes, "The idea that the Wharram Percy bones are the remains of corpses burnt and dismembered to stop them walking from their graves seems to fit the evidence best. If we are right, then this is the first good archaeological evidence we have for this practice. It shows us a dark side of medieval beliefs and provides a graphic reminder of how different the medieval view of the world was from our own." Today, we know it was a life or death struggle to survive in the medieval ages, and it appears that included protecting the living from the dead. We look with horror at this sinister secret from a modern viewpoint, which shows how thinking on such matters has evolved. The site of Wharram Percy is currently managed by Historic England and is considered one of the best preserved medieval villages in England. Thank you for supporting us at Medieval to Modern. Please be sure to watch our next episode or one shown at the end of this video. Also, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and spread the word about this channel so we can create more exciting content. I wish you good tidings, as we remember that sharing knowledge has been a noble deed throughout the ages.